All right. Well, welcome to the very first episode of Matrix Dialogues. I am your host, Austin Boozer, and I've got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jay Coranado, here with me today. Man, as a father, husband, entrepreneur, owns his own tattoo shop. And today we're just going to talk through some different things about life today and learn a little bit about Jay and hopefully give you guys something to listen to. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Thanks for coming today. It really means a lot.
Of course, man. We've been talking about this for a minute, so
It was
good to see it's finally happening, man.
It is, yeah. We actually talked last night about the fulfillment rather of watching an idea become reality. As I know it's something you can definitely correlate to with, as we talked for a long time before you transitioned into tattooing and how that was what you wanted to do. And so, seeing that in this avenue for me of, it was once just this idea that was in my head. And now is something that's, here we are. It's actually happening. We're doing it. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. It's exciting.
Definitely.
The man of, what is it? What's the word for it? Many talents. That's something else to your resume.
Hey, man, I wouldn't say I feel like I'm talented at it because we're definitely just doing it for the first time. But I mean, the reason I even never wanted to do this was I felt like I was having really good conversations with people, and that was it. They were just those conversations, and I know that I and other people that I talked with were like, hey, man, that stuff was really good. We wish we could hear that again, or something in that nature. And so I was like, well, let's see if we can, how could we recreate that? And so podcasting became the idea. But enough about me. We'll have time to talk about me throughout the whole remainder of me doing this show for a future time. But let's hear a little bit about you, man. So you want to talk a little bit about your journey to becoming a full-time tattoo artist and kind of what inspired you to make that move?
Man, well, really, it begins at the age of 13. My mom came home. So I come from a family of tattooed people. But when I was 13, my mom came home with her ankle done. Okay. With 5 butterflies. So 1 for her and 4 for the kids. It wrapped around her ankle, full color. And I was hooked. I was like, bro, 18, I'm getting tatted. I literally counted down the days, bro. And after like 3 days after my 18th birthday, after a Friday night football game, I went over to Texas Body Art and got my first tattoo, man.
Heck yeah! So you knew pretty young. At least you had an appreciation and a love for tattoos.
Yeah. I've always had the appreciation, love. Been obsessed with it since then. I'm 30 now. Now did I ever imagine myself actually tattooing? No.
Okay, so
not at all.
Let's explore that a little bit. What made you go from, wow, I'm collecting these, as me, I'm somebody who's got quite a few myself, so a transition from, hey, I enjoy this and I like getting them, to like, hey, I want to give this back to other people now.
Yeah. Man, really just collecting them over the years. What was it? Yeah, I've been getting tattooed for 10 years, 18 to 28, and like, man, I love it. I love the impact that it has on people, and I started putting it in my head probably like at 27, like, all right, I think I could do this, and because like I said, I was obsessed with it and studying all the biggest artists in the world and stuff. And so back in 2022, I was just curious, and it was like, let me see if they have like any like online academy. Which at that time, that was taboo. You don't do no online tattoo academy. You got to do the traditional apprenticeship. But I found one, and I was at work, and I was having for those that don't know, I used to work in the chemical plants. And so I was in the middle of my 4 nights. I was on my 2nd night, and it was already 2 bad nights of work. And so I looked it up, I found it, and told my wife, come Tuesday morning, I'm done. I'm leaving. I've been wanting to leave for years anyways. Yeah. I just didn't know what I was going to do. And no hesitation, she said, all right, let's rock. And and I had never tattooed before or anything. I hadn't even started the program. I just like, I'm just full sending this and going for it.
No, definitely, man. And there's a lot there. So I guess we'll start with the easy one, which is transitioning jobs stuff, right? Like you said, you worked at the chemical plant. You'd been there, what, 6-7 years or so?
7.5 years.
So you've been there a while. You're making, good money easily.
Man, it gave me everything I ever wanted in life.
Yeah. And so to essentially kind of toss that to the wayside and say, I'm going to pursue this thing
cold turkey
that I've never done, that I know, something about, but know nothing about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of talk me through that, some of the challenges you faced from a mental, emotional, maybe even, if you're willing, some financial strains that came from that. Yeah.
Man, bro, it's so the financial part is you're going from security to unsecurity.
Mm-hmm.
It's let's see, you go from a weekly check to a tattoo,
mm-hmm.
To an appointment, me being in my private studio and it's just me. I'm not in your typical shop where I just have walk-ins come in any day of the week or whatever, mine's appointment based. So appointments ain't there. It's like, it's a little, it's had a lot of ups and downs, but I'm loving the journey, bro. It's worth it. At the end of the day, I get to be happy, peace of mind. I don't got to work for nobody.
Yep.
And I get to spend time with my kids.
That's huge. Yeah, that's kind of invaluable. Not kind of, it's definitely invaluable. I know before we've talked about, tattooing just amongst us, but collectively, like with our friends as well, and kind of how we've viewed tattooing as a form of therapy.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that for you, and maybe how that's kind of either some of the stories that, obviously breed the tattoos that we get.
Yeah.
And kind of some of those experiences that led to those.
Man, I could pretty much explain not explain, but like have a story with every single tattoo that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I have around 60. I know I don't have enough if I could count them. But some of the major ones that I have are from my family.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the family tattoos that I have are for my grandpa. That was my everything, my Superman. The reason why I call it Studio 53 Inc.
Mm-hmm.
That's his birth year, is 53, and I always said after he passed that I'll do everything that I can to continue his legacy.
Definitely. Why don't we, if you're willing, maybe explore a little bit more about the impact he had on you and kind of the impacts that have compounded, I guess, throughout your life and things that you see even today. Without him being here, that you can say, hey, like that's him in the things I'm doing and living today, or because of X, Y, and Z he did. I live my life this way.
Man, so my mom had me at 17. So naturally, biological dad ain't gonna be in the picture. If he is, it'd be half and half, but wasn't there. I've met him once in my life. And then my stepdad didn't come in until I was 10. So the first 10 years, my grandpa was my dog.
Yeah.
So he would pick me up from daycare, take me out of school, take me fishing, camping, anything and everything, we did together. I'm one of 15 grandkids, but I always say I was the favorite because I spent the most time with them. So that's just my thing. Don't tell my cousins. Man, he's the one that I could do no wrong in his eyes. No matter when I messed up, how I messed up, I could do no wrong. He was the head of our family, so all you could do was listen to him. And the handful of people in our family who actually listen to him are the most successful in our family. Mm-hmm. He's the one who got me into the plants. He was my lead man.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
So so I tell everybody to this day, the reason why I'm successful and all my successful today, majority goes back to my grandpa believing in me and just saying, "Hey, come do this." Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not gonna tell him no.
Yeah.
I was 20 years old, and
what else were you gonna do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And but I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to work side by side with him for his last 2 years before he unexpectedly passed.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I try to continue his legacy to this day. You know, any life lessons. Even though he didn't get to meet my kids, you can point at a picture of my kids and they'll tell you who he is.
Yeah.
You know, I associate him with a yellow butterfly. So anytime I'm going through something hard or any exciting news or whatever, of course I think about him. Like, I wish he was here to experience all this. But I could be on the road and boom, a yellow butterfly. It's a bright, like neon yellow butterfly.
Just kind of makes you,
makes
you feel like he's there.
Every road trip I've taken, every trip I've taken, Mexico, Peru, whatever, there goes a yellow butterfly while I'm on vacation. It's like, so I know that he's there.
Yeah.
He's always there. He's watching over me, you know? So yeah, man, you know, I just, that's the backbone to anything and everything I do, you know?
Yeah, love like that is special. Definitely can alter your life in the most positive ways, and as you know, sounds like for you, has definitely impacted kind of everything you've done thus far. You know, like you said, from starting in the plant young because you didn't know what else you were going to do or what you wanted to be, and he was like, "Hey, just come do this." You know, like you said, just kind of somebody you just took the advice because you knew there was well intention and and goodness behind it.
Yeah.
To continue from that, I guess let's talk a little bit more on some impact he had. I think in a way that I know you, but not everyone else knows you, and as from the way that you are as a father, as you mentioned, you know, not having your biological father around, young, so it's just you and him, and so what impact has that had and transpired into how you are as a father today?
Man, the biggest thing is he gave me the ability to want to dream. Growing up, my grandpa always had a lot of money. And boy, that boy was never broke, or at least in my mind, you know. Had multiple cars, big house, pool. He wasn't your typical grandpa. Always the latest technology. The big screens with the big old box in the back before they went flat. They had a bunch of those. Took me camping everywhere, you know. Anything I wanted, gave it to me, you know. And it's just like, okay, how do I do that with my kids?
Yeah.
You know, he helped raise me at a time where, you know, that's critical for a dad to be there.
Yeah.
You know, I had a moment not too long ago where I realized I don't have memories with the dad at my kids' ages now. And his dad hits, bro. I'm just like, dang. I be getting emotional a lot, you know, about it and stuff. But yeah, man, I just wish he was here to experience this firsthand. Everything he let me do with him, he would do with them. He'd probably be calling me up like, hey, when we're going camping, when we're going fishing, when are we going to do this? You know, so, I mean, I just want to, dang, I lost my train of thought. Oh, man.
It's good, man.
Yeah. Miss that dude.
I get that, man. Definitely relatable for me. Now, and like you said, that recollection or that realization, that the memories and things that you're cementing with your kids. These I guess memories is the best way to say it. These memories you're cementing with your children now at this point in their life is not something you have with anyone, maybe minus him.
Yeah.
So it kind of definitely is a deep sentimental attachment there. Definitely can relate to that very, very deeply. So I love that, man. I love that. You know, it seems like he's shaped the core of who you are in a lot of ways that I admire of you as a man, a father being a huge one. I've always respected who you are as a father. It touches me deeply as someone also who strives to be just a great dad, man. Yeah, it's if anybody asks me, hey, describe Jay, I say like best dad I know. That dude would do.
I'm trying, man. Look,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's the hardest job, but also the best job.
Oh, undoubtedly
You
the
know,
best job.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, through the hard times and good times, they're your biggest fans, man. You know, you go home and they're excited to see you. They get that smile, Dad. You know, all about Dad. You could have a rough day, feel like a bum, whatever. But as soon as you walk through that door, you're Superman.
Every time.
Yeah, every time. It never fails. Boy, I'd be like, dang. You know, and especially after having a daughter, boy,
Yeah.
Man, that's a different type of love right there.
Definitely. Bro.
Golly.
A child's love is different in many ways. I think it's the most, maybe the pure form of it because it's the innocence behind it, but also from the fact of like, even your spouse is going to love you differently than your children.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think your children's love is maybe the truest definition of unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Not to say that your spouse wouldn't really, stick with you through it all, but
Hey, man, well,
nobody ever gonna love you like your
I
kids
do got to
do.
shout out my wife.
Okay, yeah, shout her out.
For those that don't know, we have been together since we were 18.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And we're 30 now. So we'll hit 12 years July 1st. And been a perfect 12, but we still count it, I'll admit it, it's been on my end. I put her through a lot, but at the end of the day, bro, she's rolled with me, stuck with me.
Yeah.
Been everything. So if it wasn't for her believing in me as well, I wouldn't be tattooing or following my dreams at all,
Definitely, man. Hey, so shout out Jesse for real. For you. Yeah. No, but I think having I could go on a tangent about that. I think, support from those people around you, huge. I think there's, of course you have to be willing to do whatever the thing in front of you is, tattooing, running, whatever that may be. You have to be willing, but man, there's nothing quite as impactful as someone you care about saying like, hey, I believe in you.
Yeah.
And despite what it looks like, good, bad, or indifferent, like I believe in you regardless of what that outcome is.
Yeah.
And that's deep. So.
Oh yeah. Even at the beginning of our relationship, I'm still broken in those first, look, we're going on 12 years. It took 10 years of her being with me to finally just break me down and just to help me analyze my life and my traumas and just actually work on it to where I am now, the person you see today.
Getting better every day, bro.
One day at a time.
Hey, that's it, man. Hey, I'm proud of you and all the things you've done and accomplished and the time we've, known each other and been close. I try to tell you that a lot, but I'll keep telling you because I know it does mean a lot. I love seeing the growth in you and the consistency and the will to just keep going and pursuing these endeavors such as, being a dad, starting your own tattoo studio up, walking away from a job that, gives you mental, financial, emotional stability to pursue the rough waters that lie ahead in life. So I'm proud of you, bro. Let's continue to make many more years of
two
tough
years
times.
down, lifetime to go.
Hey, man.
I'm trying to go across the world.
I'm saying, bro.
Man.
So we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but something else that I had ready for you. I think it's deeply impactful to both of us is and like I said, we touched on a little bit about your grandpa, but kind of talking about how some losses in our life have shaped our outlook on life as a whole, but then maybe in regard to the last one surrounding you and tattooing and kind of you want to touch on that a little bit
on how it like impact my life.
Yeah.
Man, that's tattooing's like my getaway. I get to be in it for that X amount of time, whether it's a 10-minute tattoo or 10-hour tattoo. It's my time to escape and I get to explore my art side. I used to do art classes, middle school, high school. I tell everybody asks like, oh, you must be able to draw. I'm like, I'm a doodler. To be honest, I'm really a doodler and I tattoo better than I draw. Which I seen a quote about that yesterday. How there's an artist out there who doesn't think like people could actually tattoo better than they draw, and it's like, no, there's a few. I'm one of them.
I mean, I think there's a point to be made in that. I mean, maybe I'm a little ignorant with tattooing, but I know people who are great artists, like who can draw, amazing, but they couldn't tattoo for anything. They couldn't do it, right? So, I would assume that obviously the inverse could exist. Somebody could be a doodler, as you say, but then can actually tattoo pretty well. So, I wouldn't see why not.
Yeah, but it's up for debate, or like when they say like not everybody could tattoo. you know. But I'm a firm believer that anybody can tattoo. Now it just depends. Not depends, but will it be good or will it be not good? You know, how serious will they actually take it?
Yeah.
You know, for me, I'm self-taught. I don't have a mentor. I don't have nobody to ask. Oh, hey, how do I do this? Or you know, I'm just all by sight. You know, and I'm learning and growing one tattoo at a time. You know, am I perfect? No. Can I do everything? No. But I'm gonna give you the best of my ability and take pride in what I do. You know, I'm not one of those guys who's just gonna give you just something. Oh, say I could do it, and then F it up really bad and just not care. It's like, no. Yeah. If I can't do it, I'm gonna do my best to guide you to the right person that could do it. I have no problem doing that.
I think that's huge, bro. I think that's a testament to who you are. It's just tough to say, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah. Which a lot of people don't say that at all. They got too much pride, and it's like, bro, like, it's all right. They're not gonna be mad. Yeah. You know how many people I've turned down that way, and they're like, I appreciate you for being real with me. It's like, yeah, I mean, come on, man. I don't do this just to, oh, hey, I tattoo. No, like, I actually thoroughly enjoy the tattoo industry.
Yeah.
You know?
No, exactly. Yeah, like I said, I mean, definitely got some thousands of dollars and many hours of cover-up work. I wish somebody would have just told me, hey, I can't do that, big dog.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
So, no, I think that's great for that you're willing to be vulnerable, you know, because that's, like I said, that's not easy to say, like, hey, man, like, I'd love to be able to create that for you, but that's just not something I either am maybe confident or have a skill set currently of, you know, to do to what would be matched with what you're wanting. And I don't want to do something on you that's going to be garbage, obviously. Yeah. And I want to come back to something else you said, because I'm going to use it to springboard us into the next topic here. Is you said you think anyone can tattoo, and I have a lot of things that I think anyone could do, and that's where I'm going to take this. And I say the same thing with running. I think anyone can run. Oh, yeah. Right. I think so much of it, like you said, is controlled and managed by the inputs. Right. Yeah. Like how serious are you taking training? Are you studying lighting? Do you understand depth? Do you understand shading? Do you understand contrast? Right. Well, do you understand cardiovascular fitness? Do you understand the progression of building up to run any kind of race? And you know, so I definitely agree. I think so much of it is just, like you said, commitment level to the thing, tattooing, running, whatever that is. So that's where we're gonna go with next.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about how you how Jay has inevitably fucked my whole life up and made me a freak.
Look. You can't fall off if I never really was quite there, you know?
Oh, no. I'm saying you fucked my life up.
Oh, yeah. Nah, I remember that. Yeah.
So,
never thought it'd be at this point, at this level, but if you see this man, and you see him running, even on his dark sport trips, I just had to convince him to do a half marathon.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Shout out Dark Sport. Trying to get a sponsorship there one day. But yeah, so the story behind that I'll tell everyone is Jay and I had known each other, maybe probably about a year at that point. Yeah, about a year.
Yeah, about a year. Yeah.
Well, no, a little over a year. And he randomly texts me one day and says, hey, bro, you want to do a half marathon? I said, excuse me?
12 weeks.
Yeah, I said, well, when? And it's probably about 3 months out. We ran it in April. It was probably middle of January. He texted me that. And I'm like, what the fuck? No shot. This guy's crazy. Mind you, at this time, I had never, I'd ran one half marathon when I was in the Army back many moons ago, but never pursued anything and running to that standpoint. And,
but I think also, too, you're in the middle of your 100-pound loss.
Yeah,
weight loss.
Yeah, actually, I had just that was at the end of the first year of me losing the weight. Yeah, I ended up losing like 86, 87 total pounds.
Yeah, it was close. Yeah, it was in that. Yeah. That's why I say in that window.
Yeah. So essentially, right after that year of me like going from being a fat sloppy turd to somebody relatively fit at the time. Jay asked me to run a half marathon, and long story short, we did, and that was about a little over 2 years ago now. Yeah. April, 2 years. Yeah, it's 22. Yeah, so a little over 2 years ago. And what he didn't know is he would create a monster that essentially would go on to run another couple half marathons, couple full marathons, pursue running and trying to Boston qualify and kind of make it my whole life to some extent.
And then you could text this man or call this man at any time, day or night, and there's a 60% chance he's in the middle of running. But yeah,
I does feel like I'm always running. Those who do know me well, yeah. I apologize in advance if it's too much of my existence, but
it's bad whenever he's like sends a picture in the group. He's got done with a run or a video, and he's in a whole nother state. One, you didn't know this man was going somewhere. Two, he's running while he's on vacation. If you want to say, but yeah, we created something.
Yeah, so that's all Jay's fault for anyone who ever complains about me asking them to go on a run or anything.
I love when it was a half marathon. That's it. I mean,
now I'm still trying to get him to run a full. TBD. Now it's live and out there. Yeah, you can't evade it any longer.
Get there eventually.
Yeah, I don't like that eventually talk. We're gonna pin you down.
I just hit a few setbacks this year. I had started the marathon training.
Mm-hmm.
Got a good 6 weeks in, and then life happened, bro.
Training ain't no joke, big dog.
Yeah, but I ain't trying to run where I'm at in the middle of the night. So
I guess let's we'll take that excuse and continue to go on with it. I guess let's talk a little bit about just fitness and health, and kind of that impact on you, and kind of what you do, what you enjoy doing. What's some things you've learned about?
Dude, well, kind of enjoy a little bit of everything, So I started playing sports at 4.
Mm-hmm.
My family, you start at 4 years old. Majority of the time, it's baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 to 10 was baseball. 10 to 18 was all football, track, soccer, and then after high school, I had a few years of I ain't lifting, the party days. So 18 to 21 was popping bottles in clubs, and because we had friends that were promoters, and so it was just popping bottles, partying, raves, this, that, and actually, whenever I got into the plants, so I worked at the Goodyear chemical plant, and we produce rubber.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a production side and a chemical side. Well, on the production side, you're turning rubber from liquid to a solid.
Okay.
And at the end of the process, it goes into an 80-pound bale. Okay. So you throwing around 80 pounds.
Yeah.
Or you get these machines plugged up with rubber, and you got to dig, and it's hot. You're in a dryer that's you got 9 flames that are at 200 degrees, and
a little warm in there.
Yeah, it's a little toasty in there, and if you got to dig out a couple 100 pounds of rubber,
mm-hmm.
it kick your ass, No. So when my first year working at Goodyear, I had a wake up call one night, and we had about 5 hours of digging rubber to get production flowing again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was like, okay, I need to start working out.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, I've done a little bit of everything, man. I started off with CrossFit, and CrossFit to bodybuilding, but not following a program, just doing what I think is
mm-hmm.
right. And then having my own thing at my house, the 100 experience, shout out 100 experience. And then working with Ben, and just Ben was a game changer, because he just rewired everything I thought I knew about fitness,
mm-hmm.
in the fitness game, and just changed my whole perspective of it. And so now I think I'm the fittest I've ever been.
Okay.
I feel good. I could go out and run a few miles if I need to. I ain't running no marathon, but
just a few though. Just a few.
I give you a solid 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Any given day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any day 6, you got it.
Any day.
Okay.
Yeah. Any day, whether I've been doing it or not. Now the timing, don't worry about the pace, but I'm gonna get 6 though.
Okay.
For sure.
No, I don't doubt that. It just may take you 2 hours, but you're gonna get 6.
Yeah.
No, that's good, man. I think fitness is a journey for sure. There's a lot to be. Sorry, I think there's a lot to unpack there. Yeah, fitness is huge, and the impact it's had on both of us collectively. Been a staple throughout many areas of our life. But no, man. Yeah, I think. So what? So you said today you're kind of doing a little bit of everything still. So still doing some running, still doing some lifting. I guess a little CrossFit. We did a Murph a couple weeks, week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I think since I started Murph in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I've done. It should be nine, but I think I've done 4 or 5 in that time.
For those who don't know what a Murph is, go ahead and break them down. What a Murph is.
Me break it down.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna.
Oh, you want me to break it down?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll
break it down, man.
So for those who don't know, in the fitness community, what a Murph is a Murph is done to honor the Navy SEAL officer, Lieutenant Murphy, and something he loved to do was run 1 mile, do 300 air squats, 200 push-ups, and 100 pull-ups, and then run another mile. And if you're real crazy, you do it in a 20-pound weight vest at least as well.
Yeah.
And that stuff's brutal. It's a great workout though. So usually Jay and I have done it a couple times now together on Memorial Day to honor Lieutenant Michael Murphy and all those other people who are not here with us today collectively. So that's a Murph. But what are some future fitness goals that you have? And let's just kind of let's explore that.
Man, right now, dude, I'm just maintaining at the moment.
Okay.
Life's kind of crazy for me at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm just trying to maintain. Not like I have like the ultimate goal would be to do an Ironman.
Okay.
You know, don't know when. Well, I say by 35.
Okay.
I'm 30 now, you know. But right now it's just maintaining, you know. I lift 3 days a week.
Okay.
And lift and run at least 3 days a week, you know, with everything I got going on. So maintaining, man, and just trying to be the best example for my kids. You know, they're the reason why I'm pushing myself, you know, because a lot of times I don't want to be working out.
I feel you, man.
At all, boy. I would just be want to eat a bag of chips, bumming and everything. But, I mean, I want to be one of those fit dads, you know. I want to be able to do things with my kids as they get older, and it starts now, you know.
No, definitely.
It's been a up and down journey for the past 10 years, but these next 10, I want to be able to push it even more, you know.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. I mean, I think we're definitely we need to get you a little bit more accountable on this timeline for things such as the
Look, bro, I'm 30,
the marathon and these Ironmans.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get a marathon with you. Where you got me on the half. Jesus. Cannot get my throat cleared, but yeah, you got me on the half, and so I wanna get you on the full, and just to build off of, you know, you spoke about kind of like looking forward at kind of some fitness challenges or objectives you have. I think for me it's the same as Ironman definitely in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Gonna do 3 more marathons this year in Q4. So gonna make it through the summer and then pick back up a train up and then just bang out one a month, October, November, December. So and
I think I could do December.
Okay. We'll see.
Not December, the Chevron Marathon.
That's January. I mean,
yeah.
Why not? We'll go 4 months in a row.
Here in H-Town, why not? Flat ground?
Yeah.
You told me your horror story.
Yeah, boy, it was
with your first one.
It's rough, man. It's such an experience. So I think for me, running has become the place where I can simply measure up, you know, who I was to who I am. Kind of like we talked about before this.
Yeah.
You know, our friend, good old Rolando, asked me, you know, why I run and you know what I'm seeking out of it. Like, what's the thing I'm gaining? And for me, it's really just there's a version of me that used to exist and be here every day that I wasn't very fond of. I didn't like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I created a better version of him. And I just want to continue to put as much space between me and that version of me.
Yeah.
So that I can know that like I'm not that person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And couple that with a fear of insufficiency in all walks of life, and you get where I'm at right now. So
yeah.
it's
Okay.
a great time,
So
man.
so you still let it motivate you to this day?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if motivation's the right word because, like you said, I mean, there's nothing about going out for 10, 12, 15, 18, 20-mile run that's like, oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah. No, it's one of those you just do.
Yeah, no, you just do it. Yeah, it's like, like a plan beats discipline all day. Or a plan beats like motivation all day.
Yeah.
And so you can have that consistency and learn to build discipline, right? So I think
Yeah.
for anyone who's in that early phase of their health journey or that start phase, just kind of build systems and plans around things to hold you accountable, right? And because at the beginning you don't really have any discipline, you've never done this before, so it'd be foolish to assume that, oh, I'm just going to be somebody who's super disciplined. It's like, well, maybe you're not even that. I mean, when I first started getting serious about my health again, 2-3 years ago, I wasn't somebody who was disciplined. I was lazy. I didn't want to do it. So it's like, how can I take that away? Or I don't have the motivation today. It's like, well, you're not always going to have that. So don't rely on that to be the thing. It's like, hey, there's a workout scheduled for Wednesday. That's this. It's Wednesday's uppers. We're hitting, Wednesday came. I'm not motivated, but guess what? There's already a plan in place. I need to fulfill the plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think just structuring it in that nature rather than leaning towards, I'm not motivated. Hey, here's the run plan. This week 8, run 3. This interval run that you don't want to do, great.
Yeah.
You had a bad day. Kids are on your nerves. Wife and you are in it over whatever.
Those runs are peaceful. I never understood runners for the longest time. I hated running for the longest. And when I finally took it serious last year is when I realized, like, oh, this is different. Like you said, this is your escape. You get to just focus on the run and clear your mind. Now, is it easy? Hell no, it ain't easy. But we get the opportunity to do these things. Everybody say, oh, once you hit 30, that's it. You go downhill, and it's like, why? How many how many people in my graduating class that are just like, oh, we're 30 now. That's it. Like why does that got to be it? We're just getting started. 20s was cool, but really 30s on up. That's where it's at, man.
Yeah. I mean, I have that's a whole segment for me. I could go on a whole podcast on that. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just the idea or the correlation we make to age is so wrong.
Yeah.
It's 30 years old. It's like in correlation to the rest of your life. Say even if you only live to 70, that ain't even half your life yet. So it's really not old, right? I think we just use that as a crutch or as an excuse to stop pursuing hard things. And I don't want to do that, because as the beauty about life is as you get older, you gain more experiences, gain more knowledge. You're doing it well, you gain more wealth. So as a consequence of that, a lot of the hardships of life are kind of fading, right? You're getting older, more. So there's nothing that's new, and you've overcame and achieved other things. So now you have the skills to navigate that. So life isn't as tough on you. And then with time, you've had more success in your career, made more money. So now there's not as many monetary struggles, right? So it's like I think fitness is a place, and running in particular for me definitely is that, where I can pursue something hard, right? And I think as men, we definitely need that. So whether I'm 30, I'm not 30 yet, thank God. No, I'm just kidding. No, but whether I'm 30 or 60, the idea that fitness or running will go away is just like not even relatively in the frame for me.
Especially if you're starting now, it'll still be with you. You're there. I got a neighbor. My man's is 70, 71. Always in the gym 5 days a week. He's lifting 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And then the other 2, he's doing 20 minutes on the elliptical, 20 minutes on the treadmill, 20 minutes on the Stairmaster, and 20 minutes rowing. Boy, 70, 71. Every time I see him, I tell him, I know you ain't 71. I need to see a license or something, because there just ain't no way. But he's like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
I just can't be sitting around all day, and especially when I have the ability to still move.
Yeah. No, and like I said, I think that's part of the issue, that is that idea, that view we have of like even 50 or 60 is like we view it you know, especially if you come from maybe a background or a family that's a little bit more unhealthy. You know, you think 50, 60, and I know for until really recently, I was like, man, like I won't be able to do anything anymore.
Yeah.
Even if I like take care of myself, like, you know, you view 50, 60, it's like people are unhealthy, they're overweight, they're, you know, they're starting to like lose the ability to do things. And then with me being in the health space and pursuing fitness longer, I've like realized I'm like, wait, like actually isn't that. Like if you do continue this and maintain it and continue to pursue it, like there's a guy that I've ran with who's in his late 60s who's faster than me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not an elite runner, but I'm all right. So, but he at almost 70 is outrunning me, and it was like, oh shit, like it actually doesn't just go away. Like you don't just like all of a sudden like whew, cliff, you know, fall off the cliff proverbially, and all of a sudden you can't like get up and or get down and play with your kids, or you can't, you know, it's so much of a like progressional thing with time, you know, and our view, like I said, of 50 and 60 is it doesn't have to be that way. It can be very, very different than what the societal norm is today.
I mean, goes back to, well, for me, goes back to my grandpa. He was playing competitive sports. He was 40. Baseball, basketball, bowling, you name it, he's doing it. He was doing it. While high on top of that. It was one of those things I find out, you know, when you're working. You know him as grandpa, but then when you start working with him and you see him around the guys, you get that other side of him. So you start to learn more things about him. But yeah, he's like, man, we played high in the 80s and 90s. Like it was nothing.
I have no doubts about that. There was a lot of things in the 80s and 90s that were very different. But yeah, man, no, I think that's a all around good perspective on current health goals, pursuing health for the long term, and you know, just realizing, like I said, changing that perspective on what health is versus what it has to be. In the long term,
especially if you come from a family of like bigger people. My bloodline is, they're all, majority of them are big boned, you know. So it's
big
like,
bone.
Yeah, you know, that or super skinny. So it's like ain't really no in between. So it's like, okay, I need to work on some things, you know. And I got a cousin that from my biological dad's side that I've been getting close with over the years. So every time we hang out, she tells me more and more about that side, and so it's like, okay, I need to continue on this health journey and fitness to just not be like them, you know.
Yeah. So I think that's a good wrap on the health side of the conversation. I don't want to bring it back to something a little more vulnerable, I guess, and centered around kind of the key ideas that we want to present here on this podcast. And kind of the whole reason for me pursuing this was, again, to create a space where people could seek and find the truth based on, you know, real experiences, where they're not like, oh, is this somebody just telling me a branded content deal or whatnot. I want it to be kind of raw and authentic. So I want to kind of keep that as the theme. So I guess my next question for you would be, if you, what advice would you give to someone who's considering something like a career change like you did, but they're hesitant because of their fear towards uncertainty? How would you tell them to maybe navigate that?
Man, just full send. Just go for it. Will it be scary? Yes. Is it all sunshine and roses? No, it's not. But my biggest, like, not my biggest thing, but I always say that, I don't know why. But so working in the plants, I had a unique perspective of life in those 7 years. So when I was in there, I was the second youngest one out of the whole entire plant working there. Second youngest one. You talking about 300 people in there? And I come in at 20. My boy Dylan, he's just a few months younger than me. We were the two youngest. So from that point on, so from 2014 to 2022, the average age there is 55 and up.
Damn.
You know? So, and the conversations that I've had with these guys, all you could do is shut up and listen to their stories and their life experiences. And the biggest thing that I try to do is try my best to to spread the knowledge that I gained from them.
Yeah.
You know, because I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't. You know,
Exactly.
and one of the things I've learned is none of them went for their dream
Mm.
at all. They were just like, well, we settled for this job. It paid the bills. It gave us the life we wanted. It wasn't everything we wanted, but it sent the kids to school, gave us a house, this and that. And it's just like, and then in the end, out of all of them that got to retire, 90% of them drastically passed away right before or right after retirement and don't even get to see it.
That's crazy, man.
Just gone like that. I could probably count less than 10 people that I've seen retire that are still alive enjoying retirement to this day since 2014.
That's wild, bro.
So that was the motivating factor of one, me leaving, and two, wanting to pursue something else.
Okay.
Because in 2022, I was 7 years in, but I was still gonna have to put another 40 years in there.
It's crazy to think
I'm not about to be stuck at this place for 40 years, and all of them miserable. They weren't really happy. You know, and it's like, why we gotta live like that? Life is way too short just to be stuck in this place.
Yeah. So I guess on that, I think we can say that there's always going to be some hesitancy or reluctancy, right? It's kind of natural. I guess you can actually, if you're trying to reframe it and view it from a different perspective, a way to say is that if there is hesitancy and some reluctancy, usually, more times than not, it's because that's the right thing to do, right? That use it as an indicator. Use it as an indicator to say, hey, like that's actually what I should be maybe going towards, right? Because I am a little uncomfortable. I am a little nervous. I am a little fearful of it. And then on the fear aspect, I think this is an idea I've really been grappling with a lot collectively in my life recently, is that when people ask me about fear, I think that I don't know what's the best way to go about saying it, but essentially it's maybe not being mad or, oh my God, I'm scared, like using it as a negative, but reframing it from a positive, and kind of like in that description you gave of things of the plan, it sounded almost like, and this is what I know what I do holistically, is it's not that I'm not scared of making this move or pursuing this thing, but it's like I fear that other thing more, right? So it's like, it's not that there's still not fear here, but it's like I fear being 60 years old, 70 years old and saying, hey, I didn't pursue something. Or, hey, whatever, my health went bad because I spent all this time working here and who knows what the residual effects of that are. But like, whatever the case is like, I just fear that other thing more.
Yeah.
So it's not that there's an absence of fear present. It's just that I fear something else significantly greater than this. And a lot of times when people are like, with running or with anything with me, people are like, oh man, you seem like you just have no fear. I'm like, no, I'm just running. You know, if this is the thing that you view I'm afraid of, and I'm going this way, it looks like, oh, like, and my dreams are over here. It's like, oh, you're running towards your dreams. It's like, no, there's just something over here that you can't see that's 10 times the size of that one thing. So that's that fear is much greater. And so I'm running really away from that, which again, from someone else's perspective could simply just look like, oh, he's running towards his dreams. It's like, no, I'm just running away from everything I'm scared of more than that thing. And I think so much of that is like just learning, you know, like learning to leverage the fear, right? Like, cause you're always going to be scared. Like, you know, bravery isn't lack of fear. Bravery is the choice to do it despite the presence of fear. Right. So it's like, you can't really say like, I'm never going to not be afraid of something. It's like just being able to leverage it to be the most benefit to you and saying, well, I'm just going to find something else that I'm even more scared of to help me continue to push through this fear. Oh, that's a deep one, man.
Yeah.
I enjoy that one a lot. I think that's
well, you just made me think. So there's 3 life lessons I learned from my grandpa. But the number one was don't be scared.
Yeah.
And it's starting to make me think like, because I was the most fearless dude I knew. But now you're making me think like, what if he had a whole bunch of fears and just never displayed it? You know?
Yeah, it's like, think if relatively like the fear was here, like of, oh, like I don't want to take a new job, right? But if the fear of I don't want to disappoint my family was greater, it's like I'll take a
Yeah.
new job, right? So again, yeah, it's like the idea that, you know, I think I heard Alex Ramosi say it, and he said like all of our heroes are really not as quite heroic as we think,
Yeah.
you know. And I've if you break that down, like anyone, when you really parse them down of all the things or accomplishments or achievements, is a much different person than what you think,
Yeah.
and probably has a life you don't want anyway. But more importantly, on the side of fear, just that, yeah, never expecting it to not be present. And I think it's that don't be scared. Like, you know, you said it, don't be scared, is because if you really parse down a lot of fear that you find that you're the one creating more of it.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I'm scared to do this work that I've never done.
Yeah.
Right. But how much of that fear is generated by you versus like, I'm scared people are going to think of me because I'm going to look weird. Or I don't know what I'm doing. And then it's like, yeah, maybe there's some fear there, but like you've now amplified it infinitely because of your own thoughts. Right. Yeah. So it's one that I'm very much enamored with collectively, and evaluating it myself. I make myself, when I feel myself like hesitating to do something nowadays, I go, what are you scared of? Like, I ask myself out loud.
Yeah.
Like, what are you?
I was literally about to ask you, what are you scared of?
Like, what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
Man, I'm afraid of a lot. Afraid of being a disappointment to the people I care about.
Yeah.
Afraid of arriving at the end of my life and not achieving everything I wanted. And I mean, that's gonna be a
So it's
roadmap.
the end of life.
I wouldn't say the end. The end of life, I think I made peace with a long time ago in some aspects, because it's inevitable. You know, we're all gonna pay taxes. We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. I mean, unless you're El Chapo or something, maybe you don't pay taxes. But you know,
He gives it taxes.
that was a joke. But no, I mean, I think more than anything, like I said, my fear of being of insufficiency, not being enough to the people I care about, not being enough to me.
Yeah.
That's tough. There's a lot of downstream benefits to that, as I work adamantly where other people will quit, because that fear is so much greater than anything else anyone can imagine. And I've through time learned to leverage that fear into a skill that makes me, I'd say the only thing I feel like I'm really truly more than anyone else is just resilient. I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
No matter the circumstances, no matter the condition, no matter whatever, I'll just continue to go.
Yeah.
Because I'm so scared of that thing that's over there that I want to get away from it. And again, a byproduct of that is, it looks like I'm progressing in my life and I'm moving more towards success.
Yeah.
But what it costs me isn't always sometimes worth it. And that's learning too in life, and just being able to make peace with those things. So
ties in perfectly with that quote. And now it's getting me to think, like, what do I want?
Yeah.
You know, what's my want? It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, huh. Hey, bro, you kind of deep over here.
Hey, that is the goal, man. I'm trying to take it there. I want to be able to really challenge the way people think and the ideas that we have, because I think there's just so much more that's there, and a lot of people are in positions in life that they, again, aren't happy with or aren't fulfilled with or aren't enjoying, and it's like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
You know, like there is the potential for a more meaningful outcome on the other side of this. Like, it could be more fulfilling to you. It could be more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, and you can control that. And I think it's taking the time to realize that you are the one who does control it, not anyone else. And when you're in that spot and it sucks, you know, and it's hard, you know, it's easy to be like, this thing, that thing, you, them, life.
Yeah.
Right. But really, if you measured the when improvement begins, it's when you say, it's me. Right. And my mom and dad didn't teach me this. Great. But it's your life now. And you've grown and you got to figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah. And so it's hard. I mean, it's not easy to be like, it's my fault. Like, I'm the reason my life's not what I want it to be. But with that comes the freedom of realizing that, okay, well, if it's my fault, do the reverse math, go, well, then if I change things about me, I start becoming this person that I would like to be, then my life can be the way I want it.
Yep.
I can have the things I want. They don't have to be just wants anymore. And I think a lot of people just need to hear that. And they need to realize that it's like, you can have the life you want if you're willing to do the things that stand between you and the life you want. Yeah. It's just you. You know, and a lot of people are just still going, you know, point here, point there. And that's okay. There'll come a time in your journey when you're willing to accept that parts of it are you. And when you do, that's when it can start to change.
Yeah. No, I get that, man. But that's what we try to do with our kids. Teach them that it's okay to go for your dreams.
Yeah.
You know, well, like life's short.
Mm-hmm.
So make it worthwhile. You know.
Yeah, don't want to be miserable
Exactly.
when you don't have to be. One of the closing, I guess not quite closing, but here towards the end, questions will be in tattooing. You know, you spend a lot of time with people. You know, as we know, right? Like you sometimes tattoo people multiple hours or multiple times multiple hours.
Yeah.
And you know, I've had a lot of I guess trauma dumping sessions with my tattoo artists.
Yeah, of course.
What's navigating that like? And kind of, I guess it's something I've always been curious about. Is there kind of a mental toll on, and then in driving as well, right? People just tell you shit, right? Because it's like, oh, when am I ever going to see this Uber or Lyft driver again?
Yeah.
You know, what kind of things have you heard that have like, I guess just sat with you in a way that you're like, I didn't expect this to kind of stick around, or kind of some weight that you didn't necessarily anticipate that's kind of been still lingering?
It's nothing really lingering, man. I love hearing people's stories. For some reason, you know, I get a lot of people that are like, at the start of the tattoo, they could, especially if I don't know them previously, they're just like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" You know, very short response, and then by the end, they've done told me their whole life story. Yeah. You know, and you know it just as well as I do. Tattoo sessions are really like therapy sessions.
Oh, they are.
You know, now that I see it from an artist point of view instead of just a client, you know, we're the best person you could really talk to. We're not here to judge you at all, you know, and if you have an upped up situation, more than likely 95% of the artists have even more effed up situations that they've been through personally.
That's true.
As well, you know, so we have no room to judge, you know. But with me personally, since me having a private studio, I do try to make that comfortable home one-on-one experience very unique, you know, to where people can feel like they can open up, or if they want to, or just feel cool, relaxed. You know, the amount of people that come in and they're like, you know what, I actually like this. This is different. Well, one, come in, it ain't smelling like cigarettes, it's smelling like candles. Yeah. You know, that's the biggest plus. But two, you know, just really making it about them.
Yeah.
You know, and I've heard the ones that get to me the most are when I do memorial tattoos. You know, and I ask them about their loved one that's passed. You know, I've seen some of the toughest people come in, and mid-tattoo, they're tearing up. You know, because they're talking about their loved one, and then then it gets them to think about the good times when, you know, back to childhood or whatever, you know, and freaking love those, man.
Yeah.
I love it, you know. And so I say, why pay for a therapist when you can get a tattoo and talk to them? You know?
Well, as someone with a lot of tattoos and a lot of hours logged with his therapist, both are great. You should do both. It's a double fisting thing. You should definitely experience both. No, man, no, I love that. It's something I'd always been curious about, and I'd always shout out Doyle who listens to my life stories and
the memorial ones, and then just talking to the young people.
Yeah,
you know, like how we're talking now. You know, like I said, I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't pass on the knowledge that I gained. In my 20s, and not pass it on to them. You know, and I do try to be that. I don't know if they have good examples in their lives or not, but I at least try to be that one stranger or one person that kind of put them on game on life. You know, and hopefully some of it sticks with them, and if I can impact one person, cool.
Yeah,
cool with that.
Yeah, I'm huge on impact. I think that's another thing that drove me to want to pursue this, is the seeking of impact. And it's like, how could I amplify my impact? You know, infinitely in a rapid succession. And it was, well, I can make my voice be heard to people at a larger scale, right?
Yeah.
So kind of just wanting to lean into that. Vulnerability often can be seen as weakness, especially with men, right? We know that all too well, unfortunately. But I think it's also a source of strength and a massive one. Do you have any experiences that you would like to share regarding when being vulnerable led to something significant as a breakthrough or some personal growth for you?
Man, just really my wife getting me to open up
Mm-hmm.
after 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, I've cried more in front of her past 2 years
Mm.
than I've cried in front of anybody my whole life.
And
You know, and it's helped me tremendously. You know, because we don't want to share how we feel, or
Mhm.
we're dudes.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what we do. You know, but her and the combination of having my daughter.
Yeah.
My wife, Zissy, would tell you that I'm such an emotional person. It is unreal. Any little good moments or bad moments, but it's helped me a lot with the rough moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because before I would just be like, "All right, babe, I got it." No talking about it, no questions
Yeah.
asked. Now it's like, okay, all right, babe, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah, and she's able to help guide me through it.
Okay.
You know, and just to calm me down instead of just having the world on my back.
Yeah.
She's like, let's share it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I tell people it takes a woman to help build an empire. You know?
Yeah. I think any good relationship at its core is founded on vulnerability.
Mhm.
Whether it's just a relationship like you and
Yeah.
I share, or a relationship with a spouse, significant other. Huge component of that is going to be vulnerability. Yeah, I even see it in my professional career a lot, and I think that's been something a trait that I've adamantly wanted to lean into and seek out. Of the best leaders I've admired or worked with was an immense amount of vulnerability
Yeah.
towards, like you said, even just like being present with the feelings that you have. It's kind of talked about a lot. The staple phrase of "feel your feelings," right? And I
Mhm.
think as a man, we definitely don't do that enough, right?
Yeah.
There's the one emotion men always know, which is anger. We know when we're mad. That's about it. Anything else, we can't sort it out too well.
Yeah, yeah.
We struggle to identify. Okay, is this anger like for upset, right? Or am I overwhelmed? Am I happy? Am I feeling love? Like, what is this, right? We can always pin anger down immediately. Everything else is a little bit more of a challenge, but I think, especially as a young, I think that's a transition to me as a man, is when you go from thinking like, oh, being tough and being hard, like that's the man's way, right?
Yeah.
But I think in reality, you find that in actuality, the man's way is truly being vulnerable and just putting that version of yourself out there, and where it sticks or where it doesn't, then if it doesn't, then you don't need to be there.
Well,
Right,
yeah,
that's it.
especially if it was never taught to.
Exactly. And it's tough to
know?
learn it, man. I mean, bro, I'd be lying if I said I'm doing well with it.
The crazy part is, well, one, we're never taught it. You know, I had a mom who was kind of like my grandpa, just tough nose, just,
Yeah.
but it took being with my wife to open me up.
Mm-hmm.
But what if I tell you she got a more crazier story than me? And she was the one able to help break me down.
Yeah.
And help deal with my stuff.
And when you say open up, I guess I want to pull on that a little bit. And what do you mean by open up? Because I mean, some people would say like, oh, I talk about my feelings, or like, what does open up? What does that look like in an actionable form in your relationship?
It's just feelings, man.
Mm-hmm.
Opening up my feelings, my fears.
Yeah.
Just failures.
Okay.
Childhood traumas. Anything about me that I've never just talked about openly.
Okay.
Just letting it all on the table.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of a lot of drunken moments to get to the point where, hey, you need to lay things out on the table.
Yeah.
You need to get to the bottom of this,
Yeah.
And it took for me to completely stop drinking and going completely sober.
Yeah.
For me to actually deal with my shit.
Yeah.
And then to be able to learn how to open up and deal with everything from childhood to now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, yeah. So shout out to Sober Life.
Sober life is the way, indeed. No, I think alcohol definitely is most of the time a vice we use to run away from things.
Yeah.
Right. To avoid. The only problem is when that drunk or that high wears off, your problems are still there waiting for you, and now you feel like shit. Right, because now you're come down from however great you felt for that little temporary moment. And those problems are right there. That trauma's right there waiting to just kick you in the fucking chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, you can either continue to run from it or you can turn around and kind of make peace with it. I think the greatest thing I saw about relationships, and I think this is the final kick to vulnerability, is, when you truly love someone, you're able to see that, like, we're all full of snakes and problems. None of us are as good as we appear to be from that outside view. And that mask, proverbially, we wear for the world is, maybe that some of it's really us, but there's, the darker parts of us that we keep away from everyone. And I mean, you should. If you were vulnerable all the time, it'd be like, if everyone's beautiful, no one's beautiful, right? Like, so if you're vulnerable all the time, there would be no vulnerability. So it serves its purpose. But when you love someone deeply and you're in, a long marriage or a long relationship like that, and you learn the deep or darker parts of someone, and it's like, and you choose to stay anyway. That's tough.
Yeah. There's a guy I used to work with. He'd been married to his wife for 40 years. And I asked him, I was like, dude, what's the secret? He was like, look, doc, marriage is tough. It's work. So you're going to fall in and out of love with your person. That's guaranteed. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the difference is you enjoy spending time with them. You enjoy having dinner with them, being around them, doing things with them. And it's like, that's the difference. But stick with them and they'll stick with you, and everything will be fall in place,
Yeah. And I guess we'll pin her on this last one here. What's a message you'd like to leave with anyone who's going to listen and who's going through something and struggling? What's some advice you would give to them on navigating those struggles?
Ooh. Tomorrow's not promised. So do everything you got to do today, or live like you're not going to be here tomorrow. Anything that scares you, go for it. Because everything's going to scare you at some point in this life.
Yeah.
You just got to get through it.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the 3 lessons my grandpa had taught me.
Okay.
With just analyzing his life. Is just looking at his life. This is the 3 things I learned was, 1, don't be scared. Don't be scared to do anything. Just go for it. Even if people call you crazy or don't believe in you, because you're gonna have a lot of non-believers. Trust me, I have a whole list of non-believers that, to this day, 2 years later, that didn't believe in my tattoo journey, still don't. I know who's who. But you just can't let that affect you.
Yeah.
Because if you got non-believers and haters, then you're doing something right. Number 2 is hustle. Just hustle hard, especially if you're younger. Hustle hard in your 20s. That way, your 30s on up, you're cruising. They're giving money away out this day and age. You could just go out and do something.
Yeah.
And look at the YouTubers, look at the social media influencers. You could just go out and do something. And 3, live the life you want to live. Because again, tomorrow's not promised. We get one shot at this. So
yeah,
a happiness and a peace of mind will take you a long way. And that thing is, a lot of people don't ever find that.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great. I think a couple of things I would add to that would be willing to fail as quickly and as frequently as you can, because that's where you're going to gain the knowledge and experiences that you need to move forward and be successful in the future endeavors that will be, your life. Man, yeah, as Jay said, they're giving out money proverbially. Meaning I think it's easy to be good nowadays. So many other people don't want to do it or scared to or aren't willing to, whatever fits in that frame. There's just a lot of lack of willingness more than anything. So if you're willing to do the work and put in the effort, there's unlimited success available to you. Know that it's not always going to be hard, but where it is guaranteed to be hard every time is at the beginning. And I think that's what I've learned holistically, especially as we're here today doing this very first episode. There's, it's hard. It's the hardest right now because the input required to get to here was the highest, and the return on that value is the lowest. But if you make the mistakes quickly and you can, try to continue to learn as rapidly as you can with making those mistakes, you'll get better. Yeah. Right. No one who ever did anything one time or even 10 times or 100 times was good at it. You just have to do the reps. You alleviate luck or wishful thinking or timing from being, the variables that held you back if you just continue to do the reps. Right. There's an optimal amount of things to do. Sure. But if you just do them all, it'll guarantee that you figure it out.
One rep, one day at a time.
Just continue to do the reps. Continue to do the reps. All right. Genuinely last thing, because I told you to have it, so I feel like I should not be a piece of shit and ask you. What's a quote that you love, change your life, something that's impactful to you? Let's hear it.
I've mentioned the two. So may you live as long as you want. May you want as long as you live. And tomorrow's not promised. Yeah. The two major quotes that stuck with me over the years. That I at times just fall back on at random times. So.
Yeah. Okay. I think for me, the one that I today find myself pulling from a lot, most days, it's by Jordan Peterson. It says, "You're not everything you could be, and you know it." And I think that just forecasts that there's more of who you could become. Yeah. And you owe it to yourself and to the people around you and to the world to pursue what that version of you looks like. Yeah. Because how great could you be? Well, I don't know. You only know by striving to find out. Yeah. How smart could you be? How good of a tattoo artist could you be? How fast could you run? How strong could you be? Right? All those things can only be found out by pursuing them. There's no I'll just look in my crystal ball and figure it out. It requires you to work at it. Yeah. All right. And without that, you just don't know. And it's I don't want to leave it unknown. Right? If I try my ass off and it fails, okay, well, I did what I could control. Right? I focused on the inputs that I had control of. I gave it my best. And maybe that was the best I could be. But if I never try to be the best I can be, then I can guarantee I will never reach it. And I don't want to live with that regret. So I think that's a common staple in my head with running or with being a father or with starting a podcast. Is you're not everything you could be, and you know it. Yeah. So don't let that comfort or that things are good and cozy right now. Take away from you still needing to pursue the best version of you. Where can anybody go if they want to get tattooed? What's that Instagram? Drop those outs for us if they want to get tatted or keep up with you.
Studio 53 Inc. TikTok, Instagram, DM me. Any ideas you got? Make it happen.
Heck yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure having you today. Thank you for taking the time out and being here. We'll definitely talk again.
Sounds good, man.
All right, I appreciate it, bro.
On this journey.